I can't believe I'm saying this, guys. It really feels surreal as I've been doing this for years and years. But I'm potentially selling everything. Welcome back to the Crypto Astro channel, bringing a radical, innovative new approach to crypto analysis, combining technical analysis with astrology. I'm going to be deep diving into one of my most critical astrology indicators for crypto and exactly why I'm selling. Okay, none of this content is financial or investment advice. You got to make your own decisions. This content is intended for educational and informational purposes only. I'm sharing what I'm doing, but you need to make your own investment decisions. All right, so here we are. Bitcoin chart, we're just trading sideways. This has been very, very tough February so far. But perhaps things will start looking a little bit better. And specifically looking at this yellow line here. Now, this line is the global liquidity index. I've been talking a lot about this. But look at how closely Bitcoin's been following it. Really, ever since the Bitcoin ETF was launched. All right, we peaked at almost the exact time. And we got a little pump here. And Bitcoin got a double peak there. And we headed back down. Bitcoin's been trading sideways, holding up pretty strong. But, of course, altcoins have been getting wrecked at the same time. If we go back to Bitcoin, holding up pretty strongly, we look at where we're at right now, we zoom in, and what is going on with the yellow line here? Well, we saw the yellow line start to go up on February 10th around there. We got a green bar. Then it really kind of paused out. We got a red bar. Then it went up. The yellow line went up. We got a green bar for Bitcoin. Then it traded. We just went sideways, and we got a red bar today. And look at what happens next. We go up, potentially. So could we be getting a green bar tomorrow? And then we have a big uptick there on the yellow coming into February 15th. Southeast Asia time zone. I guess that could be the 14th in America. And then it stalls out there on the 15th through the 16th before it falls off. It gets another pump from the 19th to the 20th, Southeast Asia time. That would be the 18th through the 19th American time. And then it really falls, and then it starts to fall off after that. And if we zoom out after that point, it goes down all the way to the end of March. Now, this lines up very well with my astrology analysis, and that's why I'm selling everything. As I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and potentially this could be, well, not necessarily the peak, but it could be a lower high, potentially. And interesting enough, then the global liquidity index goes up the first half of April. All right, but we got to wait until we get there. Okay, so I'll go into detail on what I'm thinking, what I'm going to be doing on the next couple days here. In the meantime, let me do the greater astrology analysis. So we have a total lunar eclipse coming up on this blue line here, March 14th. Remember that day, March 14th. Now, I did the homework. I don't know really any other astrologer that's done this. I looked at every single total lunar eclipse in the past. We look at the blue lines only. The red lines are total solar eclipses. Take a look at this and how the total solar eclipses mark the bull runs and the total lunar eclipses mark the bear markets. We even look at, let me clean this up a little bit. I'll take out the global liquidity for now. We even look at this. We got a blue bar and a red bar. That was really when the markets dumped in 2021, when we got that first peak, that first all-time high there, and it took 42 days. It peaked before that total lunar eclipse. And so well before that, we started falling, we started dumping. So it wasn't on the day of the total lunar eclipse, it was well before. And in astrology, eclipses can really affect things a month or even 2 months in advance. So that lines up quite well. Then we go back. Look at this. The bear market was marked perfectly with these 3 total lunar eclipses in 2018, 2019. And once again, the Bitcoin peak came in there 44 days before that total lunar eclipse. Okay, so we have 42 and 44. Then take a look at how the total solar eclipses mark the bull run perfectly. Unbelievable here. I mean, I don't know any other indicator that's been this accurate. This is wild. Now, interesting enough, in the end of 2013, we got the Bitcoin peak around December 6th. That was 131 days before the total lunar eclipse. And by the time we got to the eclipse, we had already dumped considerably. And we go back all the way. Now, this is the only time in history of the Bitcoin that, well, look at this. The Bitcoin still peaked right before it, but it was only 7 days before. 7 days before this total lunar eclipse, it peaked. And then the only time in history we've gotten a pump, although it wasn't much of a pump, you know, after that total lunar eclipse was this one. But this was really in the infancy stages of Bitcoin. So we could almost ignore that. But if we look at this, really about 12 out of 13 times we got a dump or the beginning of a bear market with the total lunar eclipses. So this is why I'm extremely cautious about March. All right, but not even just March, about February. Because if we take the averages of all those numbers, what was it, 44, 42, 137, and then 7. Take the average, it's 56. And so if we go 56 days, we'll just take the average. 56 days before this March 14th date, what do we get, guys? Let's zoom in here. We take the total lunar eclipse, and we go back about 56 days. Almost to the exact day, just 2 days off from this peak that we got there on January 20th. All right, it takes us back to January 17th. Arguably a few days off, but still almost the exact peak for Bitcoin there. Wow, if I don't say myself. All right, so we did get the Bitcoin potential peak there. We'll just say that for now. And afterwards, I also did the analysis for the altcoins. Similar analysis. I did the analysis on Total 3, and I got the date about February 24th that altcoins could run out to. Now, arguably, in this cycle is potentially different, where we got the Bitcoin ETFs. Typically, in previous bull runs, you know, we got the Bitcoin run, and then the altcoins would chase after. And we could take a look at that, what it looks like. If we zoom in here, you have Bitcoin on the top and the altcoins on the bottom. You know, Bitcoin runs up to a peak, and then the altcoins run up along with it. And arguably, when Bitcoin runs up, people were selling Bitcoin into altcoins to get that extra, you know, profits with the altcoins. But this time around, we did get an altcoin run, but it has stalled out quite a bit, and it's got a big dump, you know, on February 3rd, and is not recovering so well. So could the altcoin peak already be in? It's certainly possible. I'm not counting that out. And so could altcoins have a little bit further to go? Possibly. And that could be potentially fueled by this total global liquidity line chart here. Global liquidity index. You know, when could we get that further pump? Well, potentially the next 2 days, because if we look at this, this is a pretty sizable pump here. Now, I also want to say it's not guaranteed, but I am making a trade really starting today, and probably be selling on the, 48 hours from now. And for example, this, if you look at this yellow line, we could pump up to perhaps these Fibonacci lines. Now, the thing is, I'm in mostly altcoins, so we could get a pump up to like a Fibonacci retrace, something like this on Ethereum. where we could get up to possibly $3,000, which is what I'm banking on in the next 48 hours. Now, it's certainly not guaranteed. It might be less than that. It might be more. We'll have to see. All right. So, but other than that, I'm planning to sell my bags. Now, what else do we have to look at? We have, now this is Mars opposing Pluto. So we have Mars opposing Pluto. Now this is, they've been opposing each other for months now. It started in November, right when Trump was elected. We actually got a pump on that news. And then it hit again early January. And then it's going to hit a final time. Earth's going to come around this bend. And then it's going to, they're going to oppose each other one last time, approximately over here in April. All right. So I looked in the history books and looked at the markets, the Dow Jones, and I looked at specifically what the price behavior did. The last time we had 3 Mars-Pluto oppositions. All right, and what we got was this. We got 2008. Now, this is the huge financial crisis. And what we got was a pump and then a dump and a pump and then a dump. And then it kind of consolidated after that. But what happened? What was the time before that? It was all the way back in 1939. We all know what kind of world events were going on back then. We got a pump similar to what we got in November. We got a pump, then a correction, and then another pump. And then a correction, and then a final pump. So if it is, since we're arguably in a bull market, it could be more of this bull market scenario versus the 2008 financial crisis scenario. And what's interesting is the last time we got this opposition was early January. And markets weren't doing great then, but we did get a pump. What was it? The second half of January, around there. Take a look at Bitcoin. So we go back. We got a little. Whoops, that's Ethereum. So, well, we got a dump and then we got a pump second half of January. And on this next opposition, well, here we look at the red line. So we got a dump back in 1939 before a big pump before the final opposition. So that's really interesting, because I'm thinking we could get a dump heading into March, and could there even be a recovery after that? It's very, very, very difficult to predict, so I'm not even going to predict. But let's just say I think March is looking very, very bearish, so much so that I'm selling my bags before March. With the plan to consider to buy back in potentially March if there is a pump after that even. And the only scenario where I'd probably buy back in, I could talk more about this in future videos, would be, ideally if we're bottoming out. But let's say if Bitcoin goes down to, like maybe it goes like this, and then it goes down to, like in the 70s, maybe it hits 70K and then it comes back up. I might buy that dip around 70K or 80K, however, in there. But beyond that, I would also be watching this chart like a hawk. This is the ISM, also known as the business cycle. And this is what can really send us into a bull market and possibly even an altcoin run. As we look at historically, Bitcoin has done extremely well. It's hard to see the Bitcoin on here, but I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, there we go. You see the blue line up there, and then Bitcoin down here. Every time the business cycle goes up, we get a mega bull run there. Okay, after COVID, business cycles goes up, we get a huge bull run, altcoin run. Then the bear market. We haven't even gotten much of a run with this ISM chart yet. We did get an uptick this month. Crypto has not really reacted to that very well so far. But if we get another uptick in March, that could be really bullish. So that would actually, that could be the one thing that could flip March bullish. But I am definitely not leaning in that direction because of this, total solar eclipse analysis that I went over. So if this goes down in March, then that would signal, alignment with a potential big correction, like I personally am foreseeing. All right, but we gotta wait and see. We gotta let the markets prove themselves. All right, it's never 100% guaranteed. Don't just do what I'm doing, that's for sure. But just do your own analysis and make your own financial decisions. All right. What else can we go over here? Oh, the daily exchange volume. This is another concern. So this is lining up with, my deeper concerns. Like if this was still going up, if we were still making higher lows going up here, kind of like what we did all the way back in, you look back in 2020, 2021, look at how it's consistently going up, and up. Whereas where we are at now, well, let's go here. We look on the right here. We went up in November, December. It was looking good. And then it fell off. And then it really fell off in January. And that was a huge concern. Now, we have rebounded, but that was really the Trump pump, the Trump coin. But then it's falling off after that. So this is a huge concern. So the fact that this is falling off and I see horrible astrology coming up, now into March, or arguably 48 hours from now, potentially starting, or by February 20th, around there, and then the March total lunar eclipse. That's why I'm selling my bags, guys. All right, I can't believe I'm saying that. It's so surreal. But the time has come for me at least. All right, but what are you guys thinking in the comments? Do you think I'm crazy? You guys think we're still going to the moon? Just wanted to come in here and just be honest with what I'm doing, with what I'm thinking. I really love this journey with y'all. For gold and silver. Yeah, gold and silver are staying strong. Astrologically, for tops, we can look already at around the new moon, 27th, 28th of Feb. I see March 2 to 3rd, already a big pullback astrologically. Yep, certainly possible. Sold everything or just trades? Well, it's actually not everything. I'm selling most of my bags, but I think at least 70%. But there's still, I have a decent amount of altcoins in the red. That'll probably just hold. And hopefully they'll recover at some point. If there's a recovery later this year, I have no idea when the altcoin's happening. It's been way too crazy, way too challenging to predict. I mean, just about everybody who tries to predict the altcoins gets it wrong. I mean, people have been trying to predict it for years and years and years. If alts are going to pump, I can see 14th through the 17th. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking just a small pump in the next 48 hours, really. If that doesn't happen, then it's not looking good, in my opinion. Maybe the pump could move out to, well, let's look at the global liquidity. I mean, sometimes it comes in late. Maybe it goes out to February 19th, February 20th, like I was saying, at this little peak here. But after that, it just really falls off a cliff. It's not looking good. And the fact that Bitcoin's been following this so closely, arguably, is why I'm keeping my eye on it and making a trade based on it. So February 7th to February 27th makes the perfect sense. Well, I'm thinking before that. For the long-term holders, this is kind of irrelevant. Well, it depends. It depends if you're just going to hold through another bear market or if you're going to hold through a mega dump. But yeah, if you just want to hold through it, that's totally fine. If you have no problem with that. Yeah, I mean, crypto could peak in 2030 or 2032. I mean, that's a long ways down the road. If you have the patience for that, that's great. A lot of specialists compare the cycle 2021 to very bullish cycle, big mistake. 2021 cycle has 2 sets of total eclipses, hence The double top at the end of 2021. 2024 cycle is more similar to 2013 and 2017. Where alts only had 7 days, 7 to 10 days, 5 to 10x rallies before the whole market went to shit. Yeah, I mean, this altcoin run has been not so exciting compared to 2021. I recommend looking and maybe discussing the zodiacal releasing for BTC. Not sure what you're referring to. Can you recap on solar and lunar eclipses? Both have conflicting views on the bearish outlook. Well, yeah, of course you have conflicting views. I mean, you know, most people don't want to sell when we're near the top. You know, that's very normal. That's why I want to try to be to go against the herd as best as I can. It's not easy. What exactly do you want me to recap about the solar eclipses? Let's see if we can move out. I don't have that much more time, but I can come up with future videos. But look at the red lines are the solar eclipses. We get a bull market. When we get the blue lines for the most, yeah, almost exactly, we get the bear market, or we get a big dump like we got in 2021. Red lines, total solar eclipses, we get a bull market. Well, besides that COVID collapse, but these are great times to buy, in my opinion. Blue lines, total lunar eclipses, we get the bear market. I mean, it's unbelievable how on point this is, in my opinion. Hello, brother. I discovered you last year. Your astrology predictions about Bitcoin are accurate. How long will it take me to learn astrology? Years. Takes years. Don't just think you're an expert when you're just starting out. If we sell today Bitcoin, when are we buying again? April? I might not rebuy again, but I would consider at the end of March, maybe the beginning of April. But we'll have to see what happens in March. I mean, are we going to get a black swan event? Certainly possible. The astrology is looking absolutely wild in March. Is this the end of a cycle? Could be. But I'm going to have to wait and see what happens in March to see the business cycle. Is the business cycle going to go up? That could mean that we're not done. But, I mean, 12 out of 13 times we've gotten a dump or a bear market with the total lunar eclipses. I personally don't really want to bet against that. All right. We have 3 total lunar eclipses this coming bear market, March and September, and March of 2026. I don't see a recovery into the end of the year. That would be the worst case scenario. Yeah, worst case scenario is this is the end, and we're heading into a bear market. Best case scenario is, in my opinion, we see a correction or we trade sideways in March, maybe a black swan event, and things recover after that. That's also possible. So I'll keep you guys tuned. Thanks everybody for tuning in. So wild what's been going on here. I was hoping for much more of an altcoin run. We didn't get it so far. I'll keep my eyes on the charts the next 48 hours. I'm going long, and hopefully we get a pump. It might be a small pump or a medium-sized pump to retracement levels. And then I'm going to sell. All right. I'm going to sell just about everything. Particularly the coins that I am well in the green with, such as XRP and already sold Solana. But yeah, perhaps we could get a pump into retracement levels, you know, maybe around 3,000 for Ethereum, hopefully. We'll have to see, though. It might get just a tiny little pump, too. Very, very tricky. All right, everyone. Much love to you all. And I'll be coming out with more videos. Yeah, no guarantees, but we'll see. All right, thanks, everybody. I just wanted to be totally transparent and honest with you. And much love and much luck out there in the markets. Let's stay centered. Let's stay grounded. Let's think rationally. Let's think clearly. Let's look at the charts and trust what we're seeing. All right. Peace, everybody. Much love. Talk to you soon.